Mr. Hartman's not truthful. He's not reliable. He's not trustworthy. He's not by any means a very competent police officer.
So, like, how did he get promoted?
Ma'am, I have no idea, but I can tell you the rest of the agency was shocked.
He's a disgusting pig. I take medicine every day for what he did to me.
I love people. I care about people.
He loves people when they do exactly what he tells them to.
Robert Hartman spent 10 years hiding behind a badge, and Chief Anna Ly's department promoted him anyway, even after his own co-workers warned them who he really was.
And what is your opinion based on the 10 years of being a coworker?
Mr. Hartman's not truthful. He's not reliable. He's not trustworthy. He was not by any means a very competent police officer. Well, I think back to when Mr. Hartman was removed from the school resource officer program. He was a school resource officer at Elgin High School. Ultimately, he was removed from the position. And at the time, there was a number of weeks where Mr. Hartman was telling the department that he was at the schools working, and then telling the schools that he was being required to be at the department. All right, so nobody knew where Mr. Hartman was. And ultimately, I believe that led to his removal from the program.
This is the story of two women who trusted a police officer and a department that trusted its own reputation more than their safety. Angie was 19 years old when she married Robert Hartman. She was pregnant. She needed him for the health insurance. That's the whole reason the marriage happened, and she said so under oath. Alexis was 25 when she met him at church. He was 45, 20 years between them, and he made sure she never met his exes. Both women were young. Both were financially tied to him. Both believed a badge meant protection.
Correct. He would go into the room and touch me, fondle me, and try to engage into sexual activities with me.
Was any of what you just talked about, was that consensual on your part?
You know what? At that time, it was weird. At that time, I didn't have a voice.
Didn't have what?
A voice for myself when it came to someone that I thought was protecting me because he had a badge. 2 weeks.
Both learned it meant the opposite. For a decade, Angie says Robert Hartman turned her into what she called his sex slave. He brought other men into their home and forced her to sleep with them, sometimes twice a week, 3 times a month for years.
If you remember, about how many times did that happen where he brought somebody to the home and wanted you to have sex with them?
It was throughout our whole marriage. So from 2011 till 2017 when I left him.
So how often would he do that?
It would be twice a week or 3 times a month. He would tell me that he needed that to distress him.
To de-stress him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What would happen if he didn't want to have sex with these random people that he brought in?
When she refused, he hurt her. He pulled her by the hair. He dragged her around the house. When she wouldn't comply during sex, she says he injured her badly enough to make her bleed. When she cried in a hotel bathroom in Cancun, he allegedly grabbed used toilet paper from the bowl and forced it into her mouth.
In 2016, we went to a Temptations resort in Cancun. It's a swingers resort and topless resort. That day, I was drinking a lot, mind you. I was in the pool and I was flirting with a guy, and Rob got mad. And what he did was he grabbed me from the pool and he dragged me all the way to our hotel room. I was screaming, crying, but help. And it's we're in another country. There's nothing's gonna happen. So when we went in the room, he started hitting me, punching me, pulling my hair, and I ran to the bathroom because I said I had to go to the bathroom. I peed, and then he grabbed the toilet paper from the bathroom with my pee on it, and he shoved it in my mouth.
He did anything?
Hi, in Jamaica, she says he strangled her with his bare hands, and there's a photo showing the marks on her neck to prove it.
Anything physically abusive or sexually abusive happened in Jamaica?
Yes, he strangles me during our trip to Jamaica because I didn't want to have sex with a black male during that time. And I remember he took pictures of, well, I just recently saw all the SD cards that I had from the trip, and there's a lot of pictures of me just sleeping naked. I'm passed out, drunk, after like having sex with who knows how many people at the trip.
When you were having sex with
He would be right there watching.
Alexis says the abuse escalated further, punched, slapped, strangled during nearly every sexual encounter. She testified he told her he could kill her and get away with it because he was a cop and nobody would believe her. She says he forced her into a building at gunpoint distance, made her go along with more than 5 men while he watched, then denied her the right to shower or use the bathroom afterward, telling her he wanted to see whose sperm got her pregnant first. On March 4th, 2022, she says he sent her a photo of a coffin.
Punched me repeatedly, all over my body, head and face. He slapped me repeatedly and covered my nose and mouth, telling me to get ready to die. He strangled me with both hands, more times than I can count. And almost every time we had intercourse, strangling me was part of it. He told me he was going to kill me and that he would get away with it, and even if caught, would not serve much time. Robert forced me to go to a building with his gun in the center console, riding with us the whole way, and proceeded to force me to allow more than 5 men to sexually assault me while he watched and got up.
She responded with a laughing emoji because she was too afraid to respond any other way. Here's where the system enters the story, and here's where this audience's blood starts to boil. In April of 2018, Angie Hartman walked into the Elgin Police Department with a journal documenting years of sexual, physical, and emotional abuse.
Can you tell Judge Tobin what you recall about that conversation back in April of 2018?
Sure. I remember that Angie Hartman came in and wanted to report kind of years of both sexual, physical, and emotional abuse.
And do you remember any of the details that she told you?
She brought with her a journal, which she detailed the abuse in. She talked about things like Mr. Hartman forcing her to have sex with people she didn't want to have sex with. If she refused to have sex, he would beat her. He tied her up or handcuffed her. He did things like make her drink nail polish for not going along with him, nail polish remover. At one point, she talked about how he had taken used toilet paper out of a toilet bowl and forced her to eat that toilet paper.
And can you describe her demeanor when she was telling you these things?
She was very upset. To me, she was someone who had just finally had it. She couldn't take any more of the abuse. It was probably about an hour-long conversation. And me being someone who was a criminal investigator for a number of years, I've investigated a lot of different crimes.
A criminal investigator with a decade of experience heard her out for a full hour. He believed her. That investigator later told Robert Hartman directly that he wasn't trustworthy, wasn't reliable, wasn't honest. Hartman's response was 5 words, "Nobody's ever told me this." He'd been a cop for 10 years at that point. His own supervisor didn't believe him for a second. The investigation into Angie's allegations was still open, still active, still unresolved.
Ultimately, Mr. Hartman stopped working for the Elgin Police Department at some point, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know any details about him leaving the department?
Again, I was not privy to those conversations at that time. I was not a commander. It's my understanding that he left, under the kind of the guise of there's an investigation going on, and it was, leave before the department took employment action against him. So he decided to retire.
So the investigation into Angie Hartman's allegations was still ongoing when he put in for retirement, correct?
It's my understanding that was the case.
And based upon the people that you know.
And that same month, March of 2018, the department promoted Robert Hartman to sergeant.
Law enforcement officer, how did he get promoted, if you know?
Ma'am, I have no idea, but I could tell you the rest of the agency was shocked. Yes, at that point, I was a supervisor. I've been a supervisor for several years. There was discussion amongst a lot of supervisors about the results of the lists, tests.
And what was the general conclusion regarding the defendant being made a sergeant?
Well, again, amongst people that knew his work product day in and day out, that had supervised it, had to deal with all the issues that go along with him as a police officer, they were very surprised that.
His supervisor testified the whole agency was shocked. Nobody could explain how a man with his reputation made rank while a sexual abuse complaint against him was still sitting open on someone's desk. Weeks later, an officer named Cynthia Clemens died in a shooting on I-90. Hartman was the sergeant in charge when it started. According to another lieutenant on scene, Hartman mishandled it so badly that a superior had to rush out and take over. Clemens ended up shot and killed. Hartman would later use that night and a PTSD diagnosis tied to it as the centerpiece of his plea for leniency.
The officer involved shooting in the Elgin Police Department.
There was.
It was not Mr. Hartman who shot, was it?
It was not.
Do you know whether or not he was on duty when that happened?
He was. He was a midnight shift sergeant the night that this incident happened, and he was on duty.
And so do you have specific concerns about his response to that incident?
Again, personally, I was not there on scene. I've seen the videos of the body camera from the incident you're talking about. The lieutenant in charge who ultimately shot and killed that woman in that tragedy is a close friend of mine, and we've had a lot of discussion over there about what happened. You know, if you talk to him, a big reason why that happened was the incompetence of Sergeant Hartman and how he initially handled the scene.
So Sergeant Hartman was the first at the scene and sort of in charge.
He would have been the sergeant in charge. He had been in command of the scene when he arrived.
So his supervisor felt the need to go out based upon what he knew about the defendant's ability to be a police officer.
Right. Again, according to Lieutenant Jensen in the conversation we've had, he would say that the only reason he was out on the scene that night was because at the time Sergeant Hartman mishandled the entire scene.
This officer-involved shooting, can you describe, to your knowledge, what occurred?
Started off as an attempted check on welfare. The Cynthia Williams fled the officers. Eventually, she crashed her car on I-90. She refused to come out of her car. In some different ways. There was a lot of officers that responded to that on I-90. Her car was pinned in.
Officers.
A lot of officers ended up responding to that. Her car is pinned in between two cars, so she can't go anywhere. She refuses to come out of her car. She's armed with two knives. You know, there's some talking through the window. She doesn't come out.
The talking through the window was Mr. Hartman, who was conversing with her, trying to get her to come out of the car peacefully.
Yes.
Okay. And she didn't come out peacefully. She came down and brandished the weapons, the knives.
She did not. This went on for an extended period of time. Eventually, Miss Williams lights her own car on fire from inside. There's an attempt made to rescue her out of the car, and she comes out of the car with two knives and at the police officers, and she's shot and killed by Lieutenant Jensen. Lieutenant Jensen eventually, again, in his words, from what he's told to me, responds to the scene because it's been so poorly handled up in that point by Sergeant Hartman. When he gets on scene, he takes control of the scene, and he's responsible in controlling the actions of the officers. You know, and then again, at some point, you know, they're trying to rescue her out of the car. She started the car on fire. But again, I mean, the exact words that Lieutenant Jensen have said to me, almost verbatim, is if Sergeant Hartman hadn't screwed it up that so badly, I would not have had to come out there.
Did Mr.
Angie says when she went to the department again in 2018, she spoke directly to Chief Anna Lai. She was given the runaround. She believes the chief covered for him because the two of them came up through the same academy and stayed close.
So in April of 2018, is it accurate that you talked to both the Elgin Police Department about your husband's crimes and the Boone County Sheriff's Department?
Correct. I thought they were giving me the runaround because I spoke to Chief Anna Lally directly regarding the incident, but obviously it's clear that she covered for him too because they both went to the same academy. They're really good friends, but it was denied by Judge Young. What his words to me were, you're only doing an order of protection because you're filing for divorce. So I went 10 years without protection.
When Angie sought an order of protection, a judge denied it, telling her she was only filing because she wanted a divorce. She went 10 years without one. Robert Hartman left the Elgin Police Department while that investigation was still open. Not fired, retired. Now to the courtroom where Hartman tried to talk his way into probation. He told the judge he loves people. He told the judge he cares about people. He told the judge his mental health struggles from the shooting explained the past 10 to 15 years of behavior toward two different women who had never met each other and had no reason to coordinate their stories. He offered no records, no evidence, nothing beyond his own word, delivered in the same calm, practiced tone a man uses when he's talked his way out of trouble before.
Really hard on my mental health as I've been a police officer, and you made a reference to compartmentalizing, and that we all try to do that. I took my mental health seriously, and I still take it today. I take my medicine. I go to therapy. I've signed up for therapy still too. I am asking for probation so that I can take care of people that are depending on me so that I can make amends. And speaking of my mother, I got a rental car on the 16th of June at the Enterprise down the street. I rented it, I believe, for until the 23rd initially of June when we had our day that we've been continued from. When it comes to my mental health and regarding that shooting that happened on March 12th, 2018, her name wasn't Williams, it's the Cynthia Clemens. And it happened not 20 feet away from me, it happened 6 feet away from me. I knew after that, I couldn't have that same feeling and impact. I didn't sign up to watch people be murdered in front of me or killed in front of me, justified or not. It was not a pleasant experience to see. I was in shock. I suffered from PTSD from it, still do, I was Officer Rob. And that's gone. I'm just dead.
Judge,
The prosecutor didn't call him a liar. She simply laid out the timeline. He was ordered to complete 26 weeks of domestic violence counseling. He didn't start it in 2022, didn't start it in 2023. He finally completed just the assessment, not the full program, in June of 2026, only after a jury already found him guilty. Then she said the line this whole case turns on, he loves people when they do exactly what he tells them to.
Angie Hartman talk about the things that he did to her. There was absolutely no, I'm sorry. It was all me, me, me. This is the worst time in his whole life. Well, those women went through the worst time in their lives for years. This defendant loves people. That's who he is. He loves people when they do exactly what he tells them to. That's when he loves people. I don't doubt he loves his kids. I don't doubt he loves his mother, but the love he